Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the newly released Fortnite Legendary Series Brawlers kit by Jazwares. This figure really intrigued me upon its announcement as the design is so wacky and bonkers, and it is actually a transforming figure which I was not expecting Jazwares to do. Although if you are a Transformers fan, it's more of a partsformer than an actual transformer, although the way this particular figure converts is very accurate to how we actually saw in the game. Now taking a look here at kit, of course we have got the kit in here at the top, and the detail and the paintwork for this little piece here has turned out really nicely. Kit can actually be removed from this entire robotic apparatus that we have here, and the sculpt work for the most part is really cool. This figure is pretty much static. It does have a hinge joint there at the head, and you can see how it does just peg in via these two slots and ports on the bottom, so you can just place him there, and the way he's been sculpted it will look as if he is actually grasping the handles. The head here can look left to right as mentioned, and then as we take a look here towards the rest of the body, you can see that the detail is so well done. I really do believe that Jazwares are doing an exceptional job here with their Fortnite range, especially in regards to the 6-inch line, and I'm really hoping to see them actually continue this line despite some rumours which are circulating that Hasbro has now acquired the license. You can see that as far as the sculpt is concerned, for the most part it has turned out exceptionally well and really does resemble his look from the game. I also do like the use of cast coloured plastic then as opposed to paint apps, as for me it definitely does get the job done despite it having a rather swirly nature in some areas. It definitely does give you the impression of an almost still-like structure, and I really do like how it looks. You can also see the asymmetrical design here for the armor. So on this side we do have a paw print, whereas on this side it is merely just a piece of green armor with some nice silver bolting detailing. And then as we turn our attention here to the arms, I love how this bracket section does actually clamp the two halves, very authentic to how he looked in the game, and of course some nice sculpt and paintwork here. Turning our attention to the torso, this is by far my favorite aspect as far as the design is concerned. I really love how he's got this massive wheel here at the front, of course complete with the headlight and the handlebars, and then as we turn our attention here down to the lower section, you can once again see a really nice looking armored detailing design as well as some fantastic paintwork and the use of a gunmetal grey plastic, although I've got to be honest and say that I'm not a massive fan of this almost swirly look that the plastic does indeed have. As we turn our attention here to the thighs, you can see some nice buckles and braces there which have been picked out in a really nice green, and of course we have got the sculpt work of some piston detailing there which I think has turned out super nice. As we spin around here to the back, of course we do have the exhaust pipes, and once again loads of mechanical and sculpted in detailing. I was actually really looking forward to picking this figure up as the design is by far one of the most abstract on the game, and the whole idea of an actual transforming figure really did appeal to me, as of course I am a massive Transformers fan. As far as articulation is concerned, this is where I do have some of my critiques with this figure, as despite him looking awesome, due to the nature of the design, some of the joints and some of the design choices are a little wonky. So of course we do get that hinge joint here for Kit's head. Unfortunately we don't really get any real form of shoulder articulation which can move it back and forth. That is something that I really wish we could have done here. However, we merely do just get a swivel which does allow for an almost butterfly joint. Of course we do get a ratchet joint here out to the side which can bend slightly past 90. We do get a rotation here at the bicep as well as a double joint here at the elbow, and I really do like the design here. This is something that could have looked completely different if they had decided to cast this here in a solid piece, and I'm super glad that they did go the extra mile in order to create game authenticity and also to allow for a maximum range of articulation. We also do get a rotation here at the wrist as well as of course a hinge joint, and the hands here are on a hinge joint so can open and close. We do get a full rotation here at the waist, however no form of ab crunch, which seeing as this entire section here is a wheel, I'm pretty certain it would have been really easy to have just got this here to ratchet forwards and backwards. So in my opinion that is a missed opportunity and is something that we have seen on some of the previous 6-inch Jazwares figures. We do get a ratchet joint here at the leg which can kick well past 90 as well as of course can kick backwards. He can do the splits. We also do get a rotation here just above where the knee joint is, as well as a double joint here for the knee, so this can ratchet forwards and backwards there, as well as ratchet here. We also do get a swivel just above where the shin guard is, and then taking a look here at the foot, this can rock side to side as well as of course tilt side to side, and then finally we do indeed get some toe articulation. So as far as articulation is concerned, he is really well done. I mean the figure I believe has got something like 38 points of articulation. For a figure which is roughly 6.5 inches in terms of scale is thoroughly impressive. It is just a shame that due to the nature of his design some of the articulation is slightly limited, and of course we are missing some vital joints such as an actual rotation joint here at the shoulder, and I would have loved to have seen an ab crunch. We of course do get a slew of accessories. So first of all we do get a pair of power claws, and the sculpt and paintwork much like the actual figure himself has turned out really nicely. Unfortunately unlike the game, this here does not spin, and I would have loved it to, as it would have created for a very enjoyable play experience. But regardless, you can see that as far as the sculpt and paintwork is concerned, I believe that it has turned out really nicely. Of course, you can just insert it into the figure's hand and grasp the fingers around, although the grip is not as tight as I would have liked it, although it is what we have come to expect from these Jazwares Fortnite figures. We do actually get a firing grappling hook. If I just stand the figure up, as he is rather difficult to actually get balanced due to the nature of the design. Here we have the grapple, and you can see that the sculpt as well as the choice of plastic too is really well done. I do like this clear transparent blue plastic that we've got going on here for the top, as well as some nice details of where the actual rope for this would of course be wrapped around. And then of course we've got the trigger and the handle, and I do like the functionality, whereas if you do actually push the trigger, it will cause the suction cup to fire out. Unfortunately, the spring is not the most powerful, however I imagine that's probably due to safety reasons, and this here is a complete solid piece of plastic, so it will not be able to actually suction onto any type of surface, but still it is a really nice inclusion. And then finally we do get a double-barreled shotgun, which does actually have the capability of reloading, which I'm pretty sure for younger collectors will be a fantastic play feature. And the sculpt on this too has come out really well, although I am rather eager to see how the gold plastic will hold up over time. For those of us who collect Transformers, you guys all know that gold plastic syndrome is certainly something that has plagued many Transformers figures in terms of the structural integrity over time. But regardless, the nice gunmetal here at the top definitely does evoke its appearance from the game, and much like the power claws, you can of course peg this here into the hand, which you can also do for the grapple. And you can see that we have Kit holding the shotgun. No back bling was included with this figure, which maybe I would have liked, seeing as it does have a port here on the back. But regardless, I do believe that he comes with a great array of accessories. Now, getting down to transformation, to begin with, you are going to want to remove Kit here from the entire robot body. We can then take these two halves and detach them. Now, of course, this is what we actually do see in the game if you are to emote Kit, which I think is really awesome. And of course, it is just a matter of aligning this up here. I believe it goes something along the lines of this. You are supposed to pull this section here back, and then this will snap there into place. I do worry about the longevity here of this almost seat section, as of course you do have to apply a reasonable amount of pressure to actually arch this back to get that tabbed in, and over time I do worry that perhaps this section could become brittle and maybe could begin to snap and stress. But we are then going to want to take the legs here, and these are just going to wrap over the top here of the handlebars. Of course, repeat the same process. And here for the arms, it is really up to your own personal preference. You can have them hinged out to the sides or have them completely facing forwards. Let's just adjust this entire assembly, and then you're going to want to bring Kit in. Now, there is an issue in regards to clearance. Seeing as this section does want to continuously spring back into place, it does put some pressure here on this section, which can sometimes pop Kit out of this gap, but you just really want to get him wedged in there using those ports and tabs. And there we have him in his transformed, almost robot looking bike form. And of course, as we are using the robot mode pieces, the detail and the paint is pretty much exactly the same, but this is a really cool play feature, and is something that I believe for the most part has been executed really nicely. Although, much like I mentioned in the robot mode segment, I would have loved to have seen an actual rolling wheel, as it stands, this figure here is more for display purposes than actually having him rolling along the ground. I imagine you could, but you would probably scuff up and potentially scrape and damage the cast plastic that we have here on the bottom. So overall, a really fun looking figure. He's probably one of the most unique Jazwares Fortnite figures that we have gotten released so far, and I certainly have thoroughly enjoyed him, especially considering his transformation play feature. And before we wrap up this review, here for a Jazwares Fortnite size comparison, we have Kit compared to one of the largest 6-inch figures, that being of course Peely, and I think the scale here works really well, and you are able to tell that as Kit does have a robot mechanical body, he is supposed to be taller than that of one of the standard figures, and of course as Peely is a bigger figure to begin with, I do believe that the scale here works quite well. And so, some final thoughts. Overall, I think that as far as presentation is concerned, the figure looks awesome. The colorization as well as the overall design of the character is really well done. Of course, that is mainly down to the actual design of this particular skin in the game, but I believe Jazwares have done an incredibly good job in actually capturing his appearance here in a plastic form. I really do enjoy the accessories that we do get with this figure. I think that the spring-loaded gimmick there for the grapple, as well as the ability to actually reload the shotgun, will definitely create for an incredibly playable experience. It is just a shame that as this design here is so abstract, that some of the articulation is slightly restricted, and once again, much like I've mentioned throughout this review, I would have loved for the wheel to actually rotate when we do have him transformed up into that bike form, or even if it was on a ratcheted joint, so that we could have utilised it for an ab crunch. And I really have no idea as to why they did not engineer shoulder joints here into the actual arms, so that you could have rotated the arms forwards and backwards, much like you would with a more natural standard figure. But overall, he is certainly one of the more visually appealing character designs, and for those of you who are a fan of Kit from the game, and I mean, who isn't? He has arguably one of the best skins, then this figure here is definitely a really nice addition. The joints all feel incredibly tight. I do like the materials that Jazwares do use on these figures, and I definitely think that you are getting a lot of bang for your buck, as of course the figure is quite large, packed full of articulation, and comes with a great array of accessories, and it's also painted quite nicely. So overall, I would definitely recommend him if you are able to track him down. I would love to know down in the comment section below on what you think of this figure. Will you be adding him to your collection, or will he be an easy miss? Also, be sure to let me know on what you think of this review, and whether or not you would like me to take a look at more of the Fortnite action figures here over on the channel. I thank you all for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.